Students, as we were doing biological classification, in this biological classification we have started a kingdom Animalia. In kingdom Animalia we have done that different features. On that basis classification of animal is done, and we have started that classification from the known chordates, and in known chordates you have done three that phyla, that is the Porifera, Nidaria and Ctenophora. So now next that phyla which come under the known chordates we are going to study. Before that I will discuss today the difference between the chordates and the non chordates. What is the meaning of chordate? Because we are doing non chordates, as I explained you previously. Non chordates means without notochord. So here we will differentiate the chordate and non chordate to understand in a better way. So what are the chordates? Chordates are the organism with a distinct notochord. It means notochord is present in the organisms which are known as the chordates, and a distinct notochord developed into the vertebral column. This notochord further develops into the vertebral column, that is the backbone. So chordates are the organism those who have notochord. Non-chordates are the organisms that do not have the notochord or a vertebral column. Means there is no notochord in the non-chordates. That is why without notochord they are known as the non-chordates, and as the notochord is not there, so no vertebral column. Without vertebral column, so they are known as the invertebrates also. This is the key difference in between the chordates and non-chordates. Other difference is there that the chordates, they have pharyngeal gill slits at some stages of their life cycle, but non-chordates, they do not have pharyngeal this slits. So these are the key differences in the chordates and non-chordates. So now we are going to study the next that phylum, Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, which is the coming under the non-chordates. So this Platyhelminthes, this is also known as the flatworm, tapeworm and flukes. So the organisms which come under the Platyhelminthes phylum, they are flatworms, tapeworms and flukes. Platyhelminthes has these key features. They are free living, aquatic, mostly they are parasitic forms, and that body is triploblastic, bilaterally symmetrical, dorso-ventrally flattened. So their body is being flattened leaf-like body, just flat body, and it is flat at the dorsal and ventral surface. So dorso-ventrally flattened body. Then they are acoelomates, that is without coelom, unsegmented. Segmentation is not there, or if it is present, then they are pseudo segmented. Excretion by flame cells. Special cells are there, either flame cells or solenocytes or protonephridia. They are excretory cells. Presence of suckers and hooks in the parasitic form. For example, the tapeworm. Tapeworm is the parasite in the human intestine, and it has suckers and the hooks in the interior part in the head region in order to attach itself with the wall of the intestine. So presence of suckers and hooks in the parasitic forms. Examples are there: Planaria, Tinea solium and Fasciola hepatica, that is the liver fluke. So these are the examples of Platyhelminthes. Then next we are going to study the phylum Nematoda, which is known as SK helminthes also. And phylum Nematoda, it includes all the unsegmented, triploblastic, pseudocoelomate, cylindrical, rounded, vermiform organisms. So that worms which are coming under the phylum Nematoda, they are known as the rounded worm or the round worm. So what are the characteristic features? They are free living and parasite both. So they are free living also, and when they are parasite of the plants and animals. Unsegmented body, pseudocoelomates, bilaterally symmetrical body, elongated and spindle shaped body. Body is covered with the cuticle, syncytial epidermis, and excretion taking place with the help of the spatial cells. These cells are known as the rennet cells. So, unsegmented, elongated, cylindrical, vermiform body. And one more thing is there, the body, it is tapering at both the ends, means it is pointed at both the ends. And anterior end, it shows somewhat degree of cephalization. Examples are there, Encyclostoma, Ascaris and Wuchereria. So, here you see in the diagram, this is Ascaris, male and female, because they show sexual dimorphism also. So, the worms which belong to this phylum, they show well marked sexual dimorphism, usually unisexual with sexual dimorphism, male and female. So, here you will see this is that Ascaris male and this is Ascaris female. So, they have identification there, very clear identification at the lower end. Here the cloacal aperture and that curved tail is there. With the help of curved tail, they are identified, because in the female that tail is straight and here it is curved. So, sexual dimorphism is also observed. Fertilization internal, development usually direct, and life cycle is complex with usually 4 larval stages. So, there are many examples like Encyclostoma known as the hookworm also, Ascaris it is known as the roundworm also, and Wuchereria it is the filaria worm. So, these are the examples of nematoda. Then we are going to study the next phylum, that is Annelida. Annelida, this phylum has the characteristic features. They are mostly aquatic, long, bilaterally symmetrical bodies by high degree of cephalization. High degree of cephalization means they show, their body shows that segments, and the segments they are their arrangement is the metamerical way. So, they have metameric segmentation. As I explained you in the previous classes already, means in the previous lecture, that the difference between the pseudo segmentation and the metamerical segmented body. So, they are metamerically segmented. True that segmentation is found in them. And locomotion by setae or parapodia. The spatial organ setae or parapodia, like in Nereis you can see here, these are the parapodia. With the help of parapodia they move, and in earthworm the locomotory organ is setae. That body plan is tube within a tube plan. Excretion with the help of nephridia. Examples are there, Pheretima, that is earthworm, Nereis you can see here, Hirudinaria, that is leech. These are some examples of the phylum Annelida, and remaining features are also there. You can study that other features also from the book, but you have to learn 4 to 5 features in each of the phylum. Now, next we are going to study the phylum Arthropoda. Arthropoda phylum is the phylum which is said to be as the largest phylum. Arthropoda is being the largest phylum because here that organisms which belong to the phylum Arthropoda, their number is much more than the organisms which are found in other that phylum. So, it is the largest phylum, and shows the organ system of organization, and it is identified by the jointed appendages. Arthro means jointed, poda means the legs or appendages. So, this that organism of this that phylum, they are identified by the jointed appendages. Their body has outer covering, that is exoskeleton, made up of chitin. So, chitinous exoskeleton. Their body cavity is known as the hemocoel. Coelom is there, but the body cavity is known as the hemocoel. So, what is the important feature in their body cavity? That their body cavity is filled with fluid called hemolymph. So, hemocoel, and it is filled with the fluid which is known as the hemolymph. It may contain hemocyanin in it. Respiration takes place by the trachea, gills or book lungs. These are the respiratory organs. Then the excretion takes place by the spatial cells, that is the Malpighian tubules or green glands. Circulatory system is of open type, and nervous system and the sense organ, they are well developed here, and statocyst, they are the balance organ. The type of sense organs, they are used to balance the body, so they are the balance organs and well developed. Then eyes also may be simple or compound. In compound eye, that the each unit in the compound eye, this is known as the ommatidium, and many are there, that is why they are ommatidia. Sex is usually separate and development is usually indirect, involving various larval stages. And during metamorphosis, several molting is there, means the molting takes place in the body, which is known as the ecdysis. Examples are there: Apis, Bombyx, that is Lexifer, Anopheles, Culex, Limulus, means all these mosquitoes, bees. Apis means honeybee, Bombyx, that is the silkworm here, and these vectors, Anopheles, Culex, these are the mosquitoes, cockroach, then locust, many are there, and the Limulus, which is being the living fossil, they all are the example of Arthropoda. And as I said you, this is the largest phylum, comprising about 85% of the animal kingdom. So you see here the basic characteristics of the arthropods are there, that is the jointed appendages, and body is divided into segmented body, and outer skeleton, that is being hard and made up of chitin, that is exoskeleton. So these are the key features of the Arthropoda, and there are many examples of the Arthropoda like prawn, spider, butterfly, housefly, crab, cockroach, scorpion, centipede, and hermit crab, locust, spider, limulus. So all these are the examples of Arthropoda. Next, now we will do the phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca, they are aquatic, freshwater, as well as marine or amphibious also, semi-terrestrial also, means some part of their life cycle they live in the water, and some they spent on the soil also, amphibious. Unsegmented, bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic. Then a specific feature is their presence of calcareous shell. Usually external calcareous shell is observed, and sometimes it is internally also. You can see this is snail which belong to the phylum Mollusca, that outer hard covering which is known as the shell, that is made up of that calcium salts. So calcareous shell is there, and digestive system complete, and they have that specific structure known as the radula, a rasping organ found in the buccal cavity. Blood is usually blue due to the presence of hemocyanin, and respiration takes place by the gills, which are known as ctenidia. They are found in the mental cavity or pulmonary sac in the semi-terrestrial form. So they can respire in the water also, and respire in the at the surface also. So examples are there: Pila, Helix, Limex, Dentalium, here Mytilus, Octopus, Unio, Chiton. All these are the examples of the mollusca. So all the organisms, they do not have the shell, calcareous shell, but some other are also there which are the soft bodied, like this octopus, Limex. So after mollusca, we are going to study phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Echinodermata, it includes all the starfishes and sea urchins, sand dollars, and brittle stars, sea cucumbers, and sea lions are there. These organisms, they are exclusively marine, found in sea water also, ocean water also, and they are pentaradially symmetrical. So they are radially symmetrical. Pentaradially means their body is divided into 5 parts. So they are pentaradially symmetrical. Calcareous spines are present on their body, that is why they are placed in that echinodermata. And presence of water vascular system, this is also the special feature of these organisms, that water vascular system is present. So water enters into their body through the canals and then come out. Locomotion takes place by tube feet. These tube feet are also the locomotory organ. So tube feet, with the help of tube feet they move. Respiration takes place with the help of gills, that is known as the respiratory tree. And that development is indirect. Examples are there: Antedon, that is sea feather, and Cucumeria, that is sea cucumber, known as that Holothurion also, sea urchins, and that's sand dollars, that is the Echinus, and Asteria, that is the starfish. So you can see here, this is the starfish having the tube feet. With the help of tube feet they move. Now we will study the next phyla. Before that, some examples you can see here. This is Echinus, this is Antedon, Holothurion, Ophiothrix, and Asterias. Next we will study phylum Hemichordata. Here the general features of the Hemichordata are that worm-like marine animals. This just now I showed you. This is the only one example of the Hemichordata here. So their body is worm-like and bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, and coelomate. These organisms, they are known as the connecting link between the chordates and the non-chordates. So there are some features found in these organisms which shows affinity with chordates also and non-chordates also. How? So resemblance we will see. So closely resemblance with the chordates in possessing pharyngeal gill slits, dorsal hollow tubular nervous system, but they do not have the notochord. So when they do not have the notochord, that is the feature of non-chordates. But having the pharyngeal gill slits and that dorsal tubular nerve cord, that is the feature of the chordates. So that is why they are known as the connecting link between the chordates and the non-chordates. Body is cylindrical, divisible into anterior proboscis, collar, and the that long trunk is also there. Excretory organ is the proboscis gland. Their sexes are separate, fertilization is external, and development is indirect. There are only two examples here, that is the Balanoglossus, which is known as the tongue worm also, and Saccoglossus. So here you will see the diagram of Balanoglossus. You can see that anterior part of the body, that is the proboscis, and here this is the collar region. Then these are the gill slits. The help of that it respire, and these are the hepatic ceca, hepatic organ here. So this is the example of phylum Hemichordata Balanoglossus. So students, we have completed the non-chordates today, and now in the next class we'll start the phylum Chordata. Till that, you revise all the features from the book also and ask your doubts.